and welcome guys to another project tutorial. Today we're going to build a Unsplash clone using HTML and CSS. Keep in mind this is not going to be dynamic, but if you liked the video and found it valuable, please leave a like and a comment, and I will do a part 2 where I implement React along with the Unsplash API to make the website dynamic and pretty much function like the original Unsplash website. So for the image gallery, I will use a JavaScript library called Justified Gallery, which is really powerful. I will talk about this more when we get to this section, but for now, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to create a new project. I'm here at my desktop with a terminal window open, and I will just type make directory unsplash clone. I will cd into that directory, make directory images, make directory CSS, and touch index.html. And we also need a JavaScript folder, make directory JS. So now we have a bare bones project, and I will open this up in Atom as well as start a live server to get automatic updates. So I will just type Atom and live server, like that. And live server will open the project up on port 8080. Let's see, localhost 8080. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is to create a bare bones HTML file. I have Emmet installed, which is a Atom extension, so I can just put a exclamation mark like this and press tab to get the bare bones HTML document. So first I'm just gonna change the title to an Unsplash clone. Then I'm gonna create a main.css file. Oops. A main.css file in the CSS folder. Perfect. Then we of course need to link to that file, like that. And also, as I mentioned in the intro, we need this Justified Gallery library. So I'm just gonna look up the CDN for this. CDN Justified Gallery. And here it is. First I'm gonna grab the minified CSS file, put it here, and then I also need the JavaScript tag and put it in the end of the body, like that. Perfect. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is to create some global styles. So I'm gonna create a comment global. Then I'm gonna target everything. Set box sizing to border box. Set padding to 0 and margin to 0 as well. Then so now let's target the body. Set font family to Helvetica, which is the font we're gonna use, and backup sans serif. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. We can target an ordered list as well and set list style to none. Yeah. I'm also gonna target the link tags. Set color to 999 and text decoration to none. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the next step is to create the navigation. So I'm gonna put a header tag first, then a nav tag with the class of navbar. Then I'm gonna put a div with the class of left, and inside, because this is the part of navigation which is gonna be pushed to the left. Then I'm gonna have a div with the class of logo, an A tag which goes to index.html, then a h1 tag which says Unsplash, and down beneath a p tag photos for everyone. So now under the logo I'm gonna have the search form which is gonna appear in navigation at the top bar. So a div with a class of, let's call it nav search form. Then I'm gonna have a form with no action, an input with a type of text. I'm gonna remove the name and the ID. Just put a placeholder which says search free high resolution photos. Perfect. So now beneath the left tag, the left div, I will put a UL with the class of nav. This will contain the login and register button. So a list element, an A tag which says login. Let's copy this and put join free. And this is pretty much it for the top bar. After this I will do the category nav. So let's go into the CSS, put the comment, navbar. And the first thing I'm going to do is set display .navbar, set display to flex. I'm going to set justify content to space between. And if you're not familiar with Flexbox, I will link some good resources in the description, which I use to learn. And basically, the justify content space between, what this does is push the items as far away as they can. I will show you what I mean. So, and I will also put align items center and padding 1 rem. So if I just take a look now, you can see what space between does. It basically pushes it to the right and left in this case. And then I'm gonna target the left div, and also I'm gonna set this to display flex as well, to make the items go beside each other, so the logo and the search form. I'm gonna set align items to center. Yeah, and then I'm gonna target the logo. So the logo A is gonna have a color of 000. The H1 is gonna have a font size of 1.1 rem, and the P tag is gonna have a font size of 1 rem. Yeah, so let's see what this looks like. Perfect. So now let's target this navigation right here. Let's type .nav. This is also gonna have a display of flex and align items center. The list tag is gonna have a margin right of 1.2 rem to give it some spacing. And now we're gonna target the link tag. It's gonna have a font size of 14 pixels and a font weight of 550. Let's see what this looks like. Looks pretty good. But the join free tag is actually gonna be a button. So let's target this one and style it. So we're gonna use a pseudo selector, last child. So nav li last child. And what this does is it targets the last list element in the container. And then we're just gonna target the link element. So we're gonna set the display to block. I'm gonna set the background to a green color. 3, C, B, 4, 6, and E. That. And the text color is going to be white, so FFF. I'm going to give it some padding, so 0.5 rems top and bottom, and 0.6 rems left and right. And we also need some border radius, 5 pixels. Let's see what this looks like. Looks pretty good. I just want to add some hover effects, so let's target this one once more. Just put hover, and we're gonna make it a little bit darker, so let's apply a filter, set brightness to 85%, and up here we actually set the transition filter 0.56. The transition is gonna make it look smooth. So let's try it. Yeah, looks good. I'm just gonna add ease in, out. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so now the thing that is left to do on the top bar is this search form. So let's target this. So .nav search form. It's gonna have a margin left of 1 rem. And if you're confused by rems, you're not familiar with them, you can just look it up on YouTube and find some great resources on that. It's not that complicated. So now we're gonna target the input. We're gonna give it a padding of 0.7 rems, a border radius of 20 pixels. We're gonna have a border of none, a background color of EEE, so a gray color. It's gonna have a width of 600 pixels, font size 0.9 rem, and a color of 333, so the text color up. Let's see what it looks like. It looks good. And I actually also want to add a hover state. So basically when I hover, the input will turn white. So let's add that. Nav input, add a hover pseudo selector. And we're basically just gonna change the background to white. Like that. Or actually, it's not hover, it's focus. Sorry. When we focus on the input, we want it turned white. So let's try it. Looks good. Perfect. So let's move on. Okay, so now we will create this category nav down here. So let's do that. So we just create, down beneath the nav, we just put the div with the class of category nav. This is gonna have a display of flex as well. So now we're gonna have a bunch of items, so a bunch of divs with the class of category. Inside of the category we're gonna have a tag, and the first one is gonna be editorial. I'm just gonna copy this a bunch of times. Okay, so I just created a bunch of categories. I just copied them from the original Unsplash website. So, for example, wallpapers, texture and patterns, and nature, current events. Yeah. So now you can see it's really ugly. So let's style it. We're actually gonna put a comment. So category nav. So, oops, that's wrong. So category nav, it's gonna have a display of flex, a padding left of 0.6 rems, and also overflow hidden to make sure nothing goes outside the screen. Now we're gonna target the individual category. So category nav dot category. So each element is gonna have a padding of 0.8 rems. And then we need to target the link tags. So the text category A. It's gonna have a font size of 14 pixels, a font weight of 500, and letter spacing of 1 pixels, and a line height of 1. So let's see what this looks like. I think it looks pretty good. And it will not look exactly as the Unsplash website, but it will be pretty similar. So let's move on to the hero section here. Okay, so let's start with the hero section. So we're down beneath the header, we're gonna create a section with a class of hero. And then we're gonna put a div with the class of hero container, and then we need a div with the class of header content. So this is where all the content is gonna lay. So first a h1 which says Unsplash, then a p tag. I'm just gonna copy this. Basically the internet source of freely usable images, a line break, and powered by creators everywhere. And beneath that we're gonna have a search form, so a div with a class of hero search form. And actually up here I made a mistake, it's not header, it's hero. So hero search form, we need a form, no action, input, type of text, remove value name, and just a placeholder. It's gonna be search free high resolution photos. And this is gonna be pretty similar to the navigation form. And then down beneath we're gonna have a div with the tag of trending search tags. So this is gonna be these ones. and p tag with trending searches, a tag. Let's put flower. Let's put wallpaper. Let's put another one. Sad. And love. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the content. And then down beneath the hero container, we're gonna have an overlay, which is gonna make the background a bit darker to make the content stand out a bit more. So it's gonna be a div with a hero class of hero overlay. Oops. Perfect. So let's go into the CSS file. Put a comment, hero. Like that. So let's target the hero. It's gonna have a height of 600 pixels. Now we actually need a background image, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get one. Okay, so now I have this hero image.jpg, which is actually the same as the original Unsplash website. I took this here. Perfect. And if you just download the GitHub repo for this project, you can get the images that I use. So yeah. Let's set the background to url/images/hero.jpg, and we're gonna add no repeat and set it to right and top. We're gonna have a background size of 100% and 700 pixels height. So width of 100% and the height of 770 pixels. So I'm gonna set a width of 100% on the container as well, and position relative, because the overlay is gonna have a position absolute. So let's do that now. Or actually just take a look on how it looks right now. So it looks like this. Now we're gonna add the overlay. So let's target the hero overlay. As I said, a position of absolute. And it's gonna have a background of a transparent black. So RGBA 0.4. You can experiment with this opacity if you want to make it more visible, or if you want to make it darker. So now let's set the top to 0 and left to 0. So it will be positioned 0% from the top and 0% from the left. It's going to have a height of 100% and a width of 100% of the container. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, looks good, I think. So now let's target the hero container, which is gonna push the content into the middle. So .hero container, and set a max width of 60% and a margin of auto. So a basic container. Let's see. Works perfect. So now let's target the content. So hero content is going to have a height of 600 pixels. It's going to have display flex direction of column, And I'm gonna add some great resources on Flexbox if you're not familiar with Flexbox. So, and the justify content to center. Yeah, looks good. So let's target the H1 and the P tag. So first, hero content, H1. So I have a font size of 3 rems, a color of white, and we need to add a C index of 2 to make it go over this overlay. Otherwise, it will be darkened. So let's target the hero content key tag. It's also gonna have a color of white, a C index of 2. Gonna add some margin, so 1 rem top and bottom and 0 left and right, and a line height of 1.5. Let's see what it looks like. It looks perfect. So now let's do the search form. Okay. What did I name it? Hero search form. So let's target hero search form. It's also going to have a C index of 2, a margin of 1 rem top, 0.6 left, I think, and 0 bottom and 0 left. Yeah. Now target the input, hero search form input. Gonna have a width of 100% of the container. Add some padding, 1.2 rems around. Border radius of 5 pixels. Gonna have a border of none. Color is gonna be, so the text color is gonna be 000. Font size of 0.9 rem. Looks really good, I think. Now let's target the trending. So dot trending search tags. Also gonna have a C index of 2. We're gonna target the A elements, so trending tags A. It's gonna have a color of 999. Let's see what it looks like. Looks good. And now we just need a hover effect so they turn white when we hover over them. So let's just copy this selector, add a hover, and change color to FFF. And now, because we want it to look smooth when we hover, we add a transition here. 0.56 color. Yeah, looks very good. Perfect. So now let's move on to the image gallery down here. Okay, so now we're on to the last part of this tutorial, which is to create this image gallery down beneath the hero. So we're gonna use this JavaScript library called Justified Gallery to make this happen, to give the images a nice layout. But first, we're gonna start with to create the section. So section with a class of images. Then we're gonna have a div with the ID, div with the ID of gallery. We're gonna use this ID, or the library is gonna use this ID to lay out the images. And now in here we're just gonna have a bunch of items. So it's gonna be 8 tags. It needs to be 8 tags, and it's gonna have a link to images/image. So I just went ahead and got all these images in various sizes. You can get this if you download the repo, the GitHub repo. So the first element is going to be one.jpg. Inside, we're going to have an image tag with also one.jpg. And then we just copy this for all the images we have. Okay, so now I've done this for all my 15 images. So now we're gonna add some code and use this library to give them a nice layout. So I just use this basic example on their website. So I copy this code, create a script tag, like that, so. And our gallery is called gallery. So let's see what this looks like now. Oh, and we actually need jQuery to get it to work. So let's grab the CDN for jQuery. CD, no. jQuery CDN, here it is. Let's grab the minified version and put it over here. So we actually need to change this settings. So we're gonna have a row height of 200 and margins of 12. Now it looks good. So we're also gonna give it some styling. So let's go into the main.css, target, and give it a comment, images. And we're just going to target images and give it a margin of 2 rem top and bottom and 3 rem left and right. Like that. So I think this looks pretty good. Okay, so the last step is to make this responsive, because right now it doesn't look good on mobile. Okay, so right now it doesn't look good at all on mobile, so let's make it look better with media queries. So let's just add a comment, media queries, media queries. Oops. So we're gonna have a media query max width of 900 pixels. So we're gonna target the nav search form first, and we're actually gonna remove this because it just looks better. So we set display to none, already looks much better. Then we're gonna target the hero section. We're gonna change the background size because now it gets on mobile right now it gets kinda squished. So let's set the width to 200% and height of 700 pixels. Looks much better. Let's target the hero container. We're gonna set the max width to 90% instead of 60 to make it extend much more to the sides, like that. Perfect. Let's target the images. Lastly, we're just gonna change the margin to 0.5 rems all over. Yeah, perfect. And actually, let's target the category nav as well up here. And we're gonna set display to none because we don't need it on mobile. So perfect. That's pretty much it. If we make it larger, you can see everything pops back up. It looks good again. Yeah. Okay, so I hope you found this tutorial valuable and you learned some new stuff about HTML and CSS. Please leave a like and comment, And comment if you want me to make a part 2 where I implement React as well as the Unsplash API to make it function pretty much like the original Unsplash website. So yeah, have a great day!